What's up everybody, I'm Adrian Thompson. Today we're gonna go through each and every single one of my credit cards. I got them all here. Hopefully you guys don't steal any of these numbers throughout the video. Just for some background, I came out of college with a decent amount of debt. My credit score was admittedly pretty wrecked and I wasn't making a lot of money at the time. I wanted to make this video because on YouTube specifically, a lot of the people giving advice in terms of credit cards and your credit score either had their college paid for, their parents kind of set them up, they're from a good background. So I think my perspective from a rougher background is actually pretty useful in terms of how I had to climb my credit card ladder. And by no means do I want to sound like I'm ragging on the people who had a better life or more privileged life, but I just want to make sure there's videos out there for people who can relate on the other side of the coin. For some background, like I said, I grew up pretty poor, and because of this, my parents actually really hurt my credit score by not paying some medical bills or not setting me up with a credit card early on. So I came out of college with a 530 credit card score. If you don't know how your credit score is calculated, I did a video, I'll put it in one of the corners, and that'll basically explain to you why 530 is a god-awful credit card score. Here's editing Adrian, just cutting in really quick. Please go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel if you like these types of videos. So let's get back into it. At first I thought my credit score was low because I didn't have any credit history, but I started talking to some of my friends and I realized that their credit score was in the mid 600s or some of them even in the low 700s without ever even having a line of credit. So I decided to log into Credit Karma and see exactly why my credit score was so low, why it was floating around that 530 point mark. And I realized it's because I had 3 accounts in collections like I mentioned before. My parents failed to pay some medical bills. I'll make a video on how I handled getting rid of those 3 collections accounts, but at the time with my credit score being so low and having those accounts in collections, nobody would or should honestly give me money. So I started doing some research and I realized the quickest way to increase your credit score was to get a revolving line of credit. This is when somebody will lend you money, you pay them back, and they'll turn around and lend you that money again, kind of like a revolving door. So in other words, that's a long way of saying I needed a credit card. And I've said it once and I'll say it again, because my credit score was 530, you could imagine that the credit cards I was being offered had exceptionally high interest rates. They definitely didn't have any benefits. They probably had annual fees on it as well. Because I was being offered extremely bad credit cards, I started looking into something called a secured credit card. So that is when you pay somebody, I paid Capital One, say $100, and they'll give you a credit card that functions like a normal credit card, but the credit limit is set to whatever money you decided to give them. Usually this is reserved for people rebuilding credit after bankruptcy or somebody with extremely low credit, i.e. me. So this way Capital One doesn't have to take any risk in loaning you a line of credit. After you prove yourself as somebody who can take care of a credit card, they will pay you that money back. So that's what I did. I went through Capital One. At the time I paid them $100 and they actually gave me a $200 line of credit back. I still have that card, it's right here. I keep it open because the length of your credit history is actually really important to your credit score. So I don't want to close this because it's my oldest account. So perfect, I had my first credit card. I kept that card for 6 months, and after the 6 months, they actually allowed me to get an unsecured credit card through Capital One. It's the same card, it's called Capital One Platinum. That was a credit line of $700. They also took my secured credit card where I paid them $100, refunded me the money back, and increased that limit to $500. So all I ever did on this card was I would put about a $30 tank of gas on it and pay it off as quickly as possible, usually the next day or two, depending on how long it took that purchase to process through their app. Because I had 2 credit cards, my credit score started to rise, and after about a year, it was roughly at 680 points. So once you get to the high 600s, you're able to get credit cards with benefits, whether they're travel benefits or cash back benefits. So I personally don't travel a lot, so I decided to look for the best cash back credit cards that I would be approved for. Frustratingly so, I started applying for certain credit cards and I was getting denied. And what I realized was that Credit Karma tends to have your score about 10 to 15 points higher, at least from my experience, than what is actually being reported by Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion to the credit agencies when you apply. So because of that, I was already at the bottom range of approved credit score, so I possibly was completely out of range altogether. To give you guys some more context, at the time I was stuck in a 32% interest car loan. I know it's an absolute headache. So I really needed a credit card that I could balance transfer the car loan onto and get a 0% APR from 12 to 18 months. That was my goal. That's exactly what I was looking for, but I kept getting denied. But because of this, I had to get creative. I watched a YouTube video and somebody said, wherever you bank at, you're more likely to actually get a credit card through that bank, since they know that you're already one of their customers. So personally, I bank with Bank of America. So I went on their website and realized that they had two cards that fit the criteria that I was looking for. Just to reiterate, that was 0% APR for 12 to 18 months, relatively decent interest rate, but I wanted no annual fee whatsoever. Bank of America actually had two cards that fit this choice. So the first was the Bank of America Cash Rewards card. I still use it as my daily driver. And then the Bank AmeriCard. They both offered 0% APR. The Bank of America Cash Rewards card actually had a $200 sign-up bonus if you spent, I think, $500 in the first 2 to 3 months. And both of them offered up to 3% cash back in certain categories. But here's the catch. So I heard online that if you applied for one of these credit cards, they'll typically deny you for the other, just so you're not scheming the system. So what I decided to do was I went online and applied for the Bank of America Cash Rewards card on my laptop while being on the phone applying for the Bank of America AmeriCard on the phone. So I was applying for both of the credit cards at the exact same time. And once I got confirmation on the phone that she was submitting my application, I submitted the Bank of America Cash Rewards application at the exact same time. I got approved for both. I don't know if that trick actually worked in my favor, if I would have been approved either way, but that is what I did. And I was ecstatic because I got two credit cards that were really good, had a higher line in the same day. And because I didn't want 2 or 3 cards laying around with Bank of America, I immediately followed up, called them and said, hey, I have 2 credit accounts with you guys. Do you mind combining it into one and canceling the other? So I actually combined both of the accounts to the Bank of America Cash Rewards card because the cash back was a little bit better than the Bank AmeriCard. So if you're keeping track at this moment, after I did the Bank of America scheme, including the closed accounts, I have 4 credit cards. But I realized when I was getting the Bank of America Cash Rewards card that I essentially got $200 for free just for opening the card. I was wondering if anybody else was using and applying for credit cards solely for the sign-up bonuses, and I realized that's a whole thing called credit card turning on Reddit. There's already a subreddit and people explaining how to do it in detailed process, and admittedly I got a little obsessed because it is just free money. The way it typically looks is that you'll get $150 to $250 cash back if you spend a set amount of money in a set amount of time. Usually it's anywhere between $500 and $2,000 in the first month to 3 months. And because I had now 4 accounts and 100% paying history, my credit score has risen slowly to around 700, 710. And once you get above 700, you're pretty much going to get approved for almost any card you apply for, as long as it's not one of those top tier Amex cards or Chase cards. So what I did when I decided I was buying this camera for the YouTube channel, I got a Bank of America Blue Cash Rewards card, and that got me $100 off when I spent $500 on this camera. Also decided to get the Amazon card because it got me $60 off some knickknacks I needed when I was moving. I got the Chase Freedom Unlimited card around Christmas so I could get $200 off of the Christmas presents I was buying. And then I bought this laptop on this Barclays credit card, and then instead of paying off the laptop, I invested that money. I think I got about 40% return, so I essentially bought this laptop for 40% off. Now keep in mind, I have never bought something in order to get a credit card. I've always gotten the credit cards after I've made the decision that I was going to purchase the item. But you might as well apply for a credit card and get the item sometimes up to 50 to 60% off, depending on how expensive it is. And when you apply for these credit cards, your credit limit shoots up, so your credit utilization stays significantly lower month to month, which should increase your credit score. So if you're keeping track, I've gotten roughly about $560 in sign-up bonuses. I saved about $1,800 when I balance transferred my 32% interest car loan onto my credit card, and to this day, I've gotten roughly $360 in cashback rewards on my Bank of America Cash Rewards card. Essentially, the version of me who applied for these credit cards that I didn't need but I could use has a net worth higher of $2,720 than the version of me who didn't apply for credit cards because you're not supposed to. Now, there obviously and definitely can be some negatives if you do go down this path. First things first, make sure you always pay the balances off in full. I paid off as soon as possible. Some people tell you to wait until it reports. I have found it doesn't really make a difference, and typically actually makes my credit score go lower because my utilization rate increases from 0%. Now, something to keep in mind is every time you apply for a credit card, your credit score is going to drop by roughly 4 to 5 points. It should rebound within 2 months, but if you're applying for a car loan or a home loan, keep that in mind for sure, because your rates will be higher if you do have a credit card reporting in the previous 2 to 3 months. On the other hand, if you're not applying for a car loan or a house loan anytime soon, you can just sign up for the credit cards and get the sign-up benefits. I've done that and it's worked out extremely well for me. In fact, doing this has actually got me out of a bind 1 or 2 times because I decided I was going to make a purchase. I made a purchase and then something unforeseen came up, but because I had that $200 to $300 of the sign-up bonuses still in my account, I was able to take care of it no problem whatsoever. Also, another factor in your credit score is the total amount of accounts you have open. So it might hurt your score on a short term to apply for these credit cards, but I think once you get 10 accounts open, your credit score should see a bump. So this is a great way to open accounts and increase your credit score over time. So what's the point of this video? Obviously, I'm not telling you just to apply for credit cards to max them out. Always pay everything off, use them timely and proactively and intelligently. But if you do that, you can get significant benefits out of that. I've done it throughout my growth out of poverty, and I suggest you do it too. So that's it. If you liked the video, go ahead and like and subscribe. And remember, it may be hard now, but it doesn't always have to be. I'll see you in the next one. Boop.